Hello and welcome to Chez, Zasaa, and today I have a tête-à-tête with Tiwa. And you're probably wondering what on earth that is because it's been forever since I had a tête-à-tête with Tiwa. Now, tête-à-tête with Tiwa is just conversations with my husband, basically. We've got people have sent in questions and we tackle the questions. So whatever question comes to us, we read it out and we have a discussion about it. We're not experts, we just talk from our opinion. And yes, that's what Tête-à-tête with Tiwa is. So please join me in inviting or welcoming my husband, Wale.
Hi everyone.
Who has been a nightmare to get hold of to get on here. Yeah, his schedule is crazy, and anyway, he's here. So
I
we're
made
going
it.
to.
I made it.
So we're going to go straight into it. Now we've called this conversations about relationships basically because we have several questions and it could go anyway. So, are you ready?
Yep, ready.
Okay. Question number 1. This is interesting. It says, when one feels that they have heard from God about their spouse and later they decide to divorce, did God not originally speak?
Yeah, that's a tough one. Okay. I reckon it can go several ways. In fact, I think that there's several, there's several facets to this one question. Now, one heard from God. So let's tackle that first.
Yes.
Did one actually hear from God?
Well,
Or did one feel
yeah.
that? Do you see? There's that aspect to look at.
And I don't know that there's any way one can ever confirm that specifically.
Which,
Do you know what I mean?
and there's the point. Now, generally, if we come and there's a hand from God, so you're coming from some sort of spiritual background, sort, yes.
Yeah.
And I will follow the Bible on this one.
Okay.
The Bible says that out of the mouth of 2 or 3, a word is established. So that person heard from God. Were there confirmations of that word? That's one.
Okay.
If we're going to go based on heard, then I would have thought, or I would think, that perhaps that's the best way to confirm that your word is
that you heard properly.
Because it is established from 2 or 3 others to you directly that is your spouse. Not the. I know a fellow once who told this lady that he heard that she was his wife, and that's the same thing he told 3 other ladies.
I was going to say, because my sister had many men tell her
Well,
that nobody did that to me. I don't understand why.
Because they want. They didn't have a look in.
They have a look at you.
Yeah. So I think that's something whoever it is needs to consider.
Okay.
If you're coming from a Christian point of view, then you would need to follow the tenets under Christianity, which are establish a word out of the mouth of 2 or 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then there's something going on. Now, somebody might say, but it was confirmed. 2 or 3 people did confirm. All right, and that's very possible. The fact that you have split does not mean it's the perfect will of God. It could be the permissive.
Can I give you... Okay, let me let you land.
Within the context of our relationship, we have choice. We have free will, we have choice. So this path is laid for you as the perfect path for you, designed. But we've been known to stray from the perfect path often, as humans. Those are the mistakes we make. And maybe that strain from the perfect path is what has led to the breakup of the union. So it doesn't mean that the union was not meant to be originally. It's just we've, factors within the relationship, could be us, could be the spouse, could be both, but a lot of times both really have deviated, and that has caused the union to break up. So was it God's will? It's very, very possible, very likely. Can we step out of God's will? Yes, we can. If we disobey in different ways, do you know what I mean? If we don't work according to, So, yeah, that's the way I see it. I'm sure.
So it's interesting. I kind of, you came to my, because I wasn't sure you were coming my way. You came my way eventually. So, because I was just going to say that, okay, first, so number one, that thing about hearing, it's one of those things where I don't think you can ever, some people really feel like they heard. They were convinced, they knew, they were sure of it. You know what I mean? You can't tell them otherwise. And even if they did have confirmation or whatever, they heard. So they heard and they went ahead with this. But I think that, so number one, did you really hear? I agree with you. But I also take a different stand in the sense that I feel that when you get married and God is in it immediately. God comes into it. Once you get married, God comes into it. So even if it wasn't the perfect situation or the ideal choice, I feel like once you get married, right, God I can see you getting cold. No, so what I mean is that I feel like marriage is God's idea.
Yeah.
When you get married in church and you say your vows, you bring God into the marriage, right? So immediately God is in it, whether or not he was in it before. He's now in it, right? And then going back to what you are saying, if you then do what you are supposed to do, because as Christians, if you then follow what is required of, being a wife or being a Christian, let's even leave the roles aside, just being a decent Christian human being and everything, then, I feel that it can work. Right. But I do feel that the onus now is not, because you see, it's easy to say, oh, I heard from God, then we're now getting divorced. Is God not in it? What did I not hear from God in the first place? My argument is that even if you did not hear from God in the first place, I feel that once you have done the marriage, once you put God in it and you've done the marriage, God is now in it. So it's now down to us. And so I feel like the onus is now on us, not on God. So not to say, oh, was God in it in the first place? Like it did, you know what I mean? Because the way the question comes is like, because we're getting divorced, maybe I didn't hear God properly. How about because we're getting divorced, maybe I didn't do something right. Or maybe there are things that I could have done differently. Do you understand what I mean? So that's kind of where I'm coming from. Yeah. Which you kind of came across to when you said obedience and whatnot. Because I think even if you hear God, it doesn't stop there. There's a whole lot of work that goes into marriage. Yeah. So you can't say that, oh, because you're ending in divorce, it's not God. It's because God, you didn't hear God properly, or God wasn't. You know what I mean? So unless we know the exact people that the exact situation, we can't really go into detail. But I feel like there's so many moving parts, and there's so many different things that could have led to the divorce that has nothing whatsoever to do with God. Right. But then we're now bringing it back to, was God in it? Did I really hear God? Yeah. Well, maybe you did hear God, but you're not obeying.
It could be, it could
be. Do you get what I mean?
It could be. And there's not obeying. There's one part. Yeah. And there's also I think, the aligning of spirits. When I say the aligning of spirits, marriage is two people. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Or three or four in some cases. No, I'm just kidding. Marriage is two people. When they're aligned, it's a lot easier. When I say it's a lot easier, it's not an easy thing, but it's easier to work through.
Yeah, like when they have the same values and the same...
Yes, yes. And so when those things are not the same, there's going to be conflict. And this goes back to the individuals, if we're not able to yield for our spouses, because really it's give and take. If we're not able to yield, which is back to the individual, it's going to crash. Yeah. Because that's just what happens. So, like you said, I agree. It circles back to the individuals,
Yeah.
ultimately. So, I'm buying your line of thought that says, and I'm paraphrasing what you said here, that if God is in it, if you've brought God in it, then it is a legitimate venture, whether or not you heard before. I think is what you said.
Yeah, so what I'm saying, and I'm specifically
Because it's
referring to
marriage.
marriage,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah,
because
yeah,
it's not that you
because
just
it's
do rubbish
marriage.
and bring God in and say, I'm specifically referring to
because
marriage.
because it's
Because yes, because it's God's idea, it's God's institution. So and it's a covenant.
Yeah.
So I think that, but I do think that you have to work. The individuals have to work at it, and I think that sometimes we think that because we heard God, there are not going to be any challenges. They're not going to, it's just going to be easy breezy, and then suddenly you realize that the challenge is going. You're like, look, I can't cope with this. Clearly, it's not of God because God wouldn't let me suffer like this or whatever. But it might be that God is just trying to train you up on something, or to, iron sharpens iron. Maybe that's the whole thing about marriage, to bring out the best in you. I keep telling you about that book that I still haven't read. I said, what if marriage is not about making you happy, but making you holy? What if the institution of marriage is to bring out the best version of you?
Right.
And nobody can do that better than somebody who is right beside you, annoying you day and night. Not that you do that, my darling. I wasn't referring to you, but the proximity of having someone beside you. So I think sometimes it's easy to think, do you know what, this is not of God because there are problems, or because they're, and then you can now be like, well, actually, maybe I didn't hear God properly because you expect. So it's all that thing about expectations as well. What you think that because you heard God, that makes it easy.
Yeah.
That's not the case. In fact, that's often not the case at all. So yeah, so that's that. Do you think we've exhausted that one?
Yeah, and there's something you said there, and it brought me back to very quickly. Especially to do with Christians when we're going through difficulties or hardships, and I understand that hardship
It's hard.
It's hard, but I think that we often forget. You will walk through the fire, it will not scorch you. You will walk through the flood or the rivers. And
My own is that Psalm 23.
You will not be, fire will not be consumed, water will not drown you. I'm paraphrasing, by the way. So that means there will be times.
Yeah, well, God will be with you.
But God, ultimately, you will go through.
I told you, though you walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I am with you. Yeah. So I feel like, yes, definitely there will be challenges that sometimes we forget.
And and then I can understand that, challenges will overwhelm a lot of the time. But I guess I'm saying to encourage people that, just keep on trucking. God is with you. You will come out at the other side. That's all. Yeah.
Okay, and can we just say that obviously we don't know the details of any particular relationship, and
I wasn't talking relationship in particular.
Oh, you're just talking generally.
Just talking generally.
I'm going to say, so yeah, that's just our opinion, right? So cool. Okay, next question. Where you have more than one potential and they all tick the boxes, how do you choose? Please, can I start with this?
Oh, please.
I think my thing here is what makes someone a potential. Because when you say you have more than one potential and they all tick the boxes, that gives the impression that you have this is my thinking, that you have a list, okay, tall, dark, Christian, educated, you have a list of things you want, and those are the boxes that they tick. So you can look at, you maybe have 10 people you're looking at and you think 3 of them tick the boxes, all the boxes. But for me, it's more than that, because you have to go beyond because all those things are quite surface. So for somebody to be a potential, there has to be relationship. It cannot just be about so that ticking the box is almost like the first stage. I'm not even sure I agree with that, ticking the boxes, but let's just leave that. You know what I mean? So it's almost like the first stage. So you see someone and you have a first chat with them, and you know that, okay, he's educated, he loves cats, he whatever it is that you have on your box, right? And he ticks all the boxes. So you have 3 people that tick the boxes, but I don't think you can get to a point of potential until you start to have relationship, to spend time with them, to know actually what are their values. Because that box ticking, even if you put values there, how do you know about the values? How do you find out about the values? And how can you, I don't know. I find it a bit, sorry, go on.
No, this is over beyond my remit. Sorry.
What do you mean it's beyond your remit? You don't even understand it.
It's beyond my remit. Why?
Okay, I think it's okay, go on.
Because the way I see it is different.
Okay, how do you see it?
I can't. I don't understand the different potential.
I think it's a male-female thing.
People.
I actually do.
Yeah, I don't get that. It's you like somebody, then you like that person. Okay, so peradventure you like 3 people, yeah? There's going to be something that's going to set one apart from the other.
Yeah, but the point I'm making is you're not going to know that until you spend time with that person.
Yeah.
And I feel like, and again, we don't know because we've just got this information, the question came as it is. But I feel like when you say they tick the boxes, I almost feel like the relationship hasn't necessarily happened. You've just met, it's the surface level. You've just seen these people and they tick certain boxes. But I feel like they can't become potential, as in something that, like you said, that is going to become something bigger till you actually start liaising with them, having conversations with them, hanging out with them, spending time with them, getting to know them. That's when you get to know about their values, about their, the things that will make you now say, okay, this stands out more in this one.
Okay, sorry. Let's even graduate. You've gone through. So let's say talking phase 1, right?
Yes.
Yeah, initial parts phase 1, and 3 ladies or men tick all the boxes.
Yeah.
Then there's phase 2, where you're into more interaction with them.
Yeah.
And again, all of them tick all the boxes, right? Okay. There's got to be something different.
But you see, but that's what I'm saying. Well, you see, I don't feel, it's the word potential that's disturbing me here. Because I don't feel when they say they're potentials, I don't feel they should be potentials until you've got to the point where one is out front. As in, how do you now make them, I don't know. I was going to say, how do you now make them all potentials when...
So ticking the boxes already presupposes that there is a, like you said, there's a checklist.
Yeah, there's a checklist.
So that checklist is you. And they've ticked all the boxes. And it's a good thing to have, I want somebody, I'd like somebody who's educated, said all those things. Fine. You've got that list done. There's more to that human being than you as a person see.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that should be the, what's the word? Pièce de résistance. That person's, them, their essence.
Yes.
So it's not about you or your preconceived idea of them. It's about them, what they have to offer to you as a human being, as opposed to what you are looking out for them to offer you.
Yes, but won't you only find that out when you spend time? So that's this is what I'm
that's
saying.
So that's when you find.
Maybe I'm reading this too literally, but I'm feeling like that ticking the boxes is the initial stage. They haven't even got to. So I don't feel like all those people should be classed as potentials. Well, maybe.
You've heard the word eligible bachelor, or
I've never heard eligible spinster. I've never heard that term. Is that a term? You only say eligible bachelor, like as if spinsters are not eligible.
Yeah.
What is that?
Yeah, I've never heard that either.
Yeah, I've never heard. Anyway, go on.
I guess it's
Sexist.
Yeah, I think that might have See, yeah, because I've never heard it either. Yeah, but anyhow, yeah. So yes, so that my assumption is that's a potential. That sort of person automatically is a potential. Yeah. So what makes them eligible? They have potential, no?
I don't know. I think I'm taking this potential thing a bit.
That's probably what it is. You know, the same reason why you'd call somebody an eligible bachelor is why you'd call.
Yeah, no. That's have potential. But what I'm saying, before I say that somebody's potential for me, I feel it has to have gone beyond the box ticking. So that's what I'm saying. So when you say 3 potentials that tick all the boxes, I'm feeling like we've only reached the box ticking stage. And I'm thinking at that point, they shouldn't be potentials. For them to be potentials, then you need to have gone beyond to actually know that, okay, this guy's character, this, that,
Right.
you know that. And then he becomes a potential. And hopefully, at that point, there shouldn't be that many potential. But, you know, she didn't say how many potential, well, it's even a she. They didn't say how many potential. They just said, you know, you know, how do you choose? Anyway, so we haven't even answered the question. How do you choose? I think you have to decide, just on my thing. So let's forget this whole potential that's confusing me anyway. I think you have to decide what qualities you want, or rather what qualities you cannot do without, as opposed to, do you get what I mean? Because you might want, I don't know, tall, right? That's not even a quality. What were you going to say?
No, I just it's a lot more than that. I think it's really about whether or not you're able to abide with their character.
Whether you can live with it.
Whether you can live with it. There's, you know, and I think those are the important things where, you know, as a person, as they might all be kind.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they might all be polite and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
They will have flaws. Are they flaws that you can live with? You know, are there flaws that you can not oversee, but you know what I mean? You can help work on, maybe, that sort of thing. How do they react to your flaws? Do you see? Because that's very important as well, because nobody's perfect, by the way, just say it. I mean, apart from you, obviously.
Oh, go away.
Yeah, but yeah. So I think, at the end of the day, you've got to drill down to what you are able to live with, I guess, because really you can have 3 people that have the same thing, same whatever it is, up to even when you're in very deep conversation, and they're still on the same level. How do you choose? Then it's then about you.
But I think my question then would be, how do you know what you can live with? Can you actually necessarily know what you can? Because you know they always say that what trips you most about a guy or I don't know, a girl at the beginning stage is what now irritates you the most about them later. Do you understand what I mean? How do you know, if you're not actually in a relationship living with somebody, how do you know that, okay, I can live with this? So whilst I agree with what you're saying, I'm not sure that one has the foresight to know at that stage that, okay, I can live with this, unless maybe you've had that sort of, someone with that sort of character in your family anyway. How do you know that you can live with, I don't know, someone that snores? I mean, that's so irrelevant and silly, but you know.
But some people can't.
Yeah, but how do they know until they get to the point where they?
Yeah.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, yes.
So it's kind of yeah.
What's your problem solving like? Because snoring would happen. If you can't sleep with somebody who snores, then you'd have to find a way to solve that problem. Are you ready to work on it? That's another thing.
Yeah, so I think it is about that. You know, you have to look for the things that you would like, and also things that you can live with, things that you I don't know. We don't know the answer to this
You've got to be
question.
ready to work on
We
that.
don't know the answer.
Yeah, it's the bottom line there because, you know, how do you choose? I think it's in there.
Well, I mean,
I
also
think it's
there's also
deep
the
down.
element of prayer,
Yes,
you know,
yes,
and God guiding you and that sort of
yes.
stuff.
Well, but then that takes us back to us. Essentially, you
Yeah.
have to find what it is that makes you think this one is the one above the rest. To do that, though, don't deceive yourself. You've got to be brutally honest.
You see, and I also think to a certain extent, then that comes back to that thing I'm always saying about you have to know yourself as well, which is a problem that sometimes people don't know themselves. But
Well, then maybe something to consider.
so I'm not sure we answered that question, to be fair.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's a hard one, but we're out of time. We're going to continue talking in another episode about the rest of the questions we've got. But in the meantime, do follow us on YouTube. Take care.